Hello and welcome to a pull and shoulder routine for the Bowflex Revolution. My name's Eric, I'm a certified personal trainer. This is just my second video on this machine, so let's talk about how this is gonna go. We're gonna have this introduction and then we're gonna get into a little 4-minute warm up and stretch, and then we get into the lift. So to start out things for the lift, we're gonna have the arms in the number 8 position here and the bench at this angled position. We're gonna be adjusting things a lot throughout the routine, both the arm position and the weight setting. And for that, I would really recommend printing out this free PDF linked in the description. It tells you, the next set that's coming up, the arm position to have your Bowflex in, and then also there's a space where you can write down your weight setting and the number of reps you did. And then when you come back to this routine in the future, you can work on raising those numbers up, and that's how you're gonna get stronger. So you can either raise those numbers up by increasing the weight setting or boosting the number of reps you did. I'm gonna be targeting 10 reps per set throughout this, but you can tweak that kind of wherever you wanna be. That could be 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 reps, wherever you wanna be. Highly encourage you count along. I'm gonna be counting out loud, and that's gonna help make sure we're keeping accurate numbers here as we go. I've got the short handles kind of hooked up, or they're in the shorter setting, and that's where we're going to be starting out for this routine. I'm also going to be hooking up this straight bar that came with my Bowflex for some bicep curls throughout this. Now, if yours came with a preacher curl, or even if you don't have these, that's you can use the normal handles if you really need to. So grab this bar that came with it, and that's all we're going to really need for the gear today. Now, the first half of this routine, we're gonna be going really heavy, doing a lot of rows. We're gonna do some shoulder shrugs. We're gonna be doing curls from one side. So I'm gonna be hooking up a lot of weight to get things started. And then I'm gonna be dropping the weight substantially when we get to some of the cable lateral raises. You gotta go really light on that stuff. So for the first probably 75% of this routine, I'm gonna be hooking up this 40-pound plate on both sides. And then as I go, I'm gonna be stacking more weight on top of that. And then you can kind of keep adjusting that as you go. But then once I get to the second, or near the end of this routine, I'm going to take this off, drop the weight a lot, and then we're going to finish things out. So we're all at our own levels. So again, I'm racking up this 40, and I'll be maybe adding up to 20 pounds on top of it. But if that means for you, you're only racking up 10 or 20 pounds as your baseline resistance, and then you're stacking them from there, that's totally fine. We're all here to get stronger, and hopefully this is helpful for that. So make sure you hit that like button if you want to see more routines, and subscribe to the channel for more Bowflex content. So all that said, let's go ahead and get into that warm up now, and I'll see you right back. All right, let's get this going. Start out with some jogging in place. Alternatively, you could do some jumping jacks, you could do high knees, body weight squats, whatever you want to do to get the body warm for this first 90 seconds. Now, as we're going through this, let's talk about today's lifts. We're going to start things off with a seated row. From there, we're going into kind of another row variant, a dumbbell row. And then we're going in to the bicep curl. This is where we work out on one side using the bar attachment. And since we're only working out on one side, we can lead that weight really high from the rows. Then we're doing some shoulder shrugs after this. Then we're going to my favorite shoulder exercise, the cable lateral raise. And then finally, we're moving to another bicep curl. This one we're going to use the handles curling up on both sides. So we got another 15 seconds or so of this little cardio warm up, and we're going to go into a head rotation in just a moment here. So let's go ahead and start winding that down. For head rotations, we're just going to make full circles here, spinning our head, loosen up our neck. Now let's change directions. Full spins, a couple more, and then we're gonna go into a torso twist. All right, let's move into that twist now. Hands together, just spin side to side, loosen up your back, your spine. A couple more seconds here. All right, nice. Let's move into some arm circles. So arms are gonna be straight out, and we're gonna start out making little circles here that are gonna get bigger and bigger And now we're at full extension here. Couple full extension circles. And now let's change directions. Full circles that we'll slowly bring in. Let's start bringing them in slowly here. Nice. Okay, YTW is up next. So reach up nice and high, extend those arms out, and then bring them together. Tap them in front of you. Then out wide into a T. Tap them and make a nice W here. Get a good squeeze in your back, and then together. And we're just going to be repeating this here for, oh, I don't know, 45 seconds or so. We're on our W here. Now as you go through each of these, reach up nice and high or get a nice squeeze depending on the stretch here. Squeeze it in that W. Couple more. Y together, T together, and a W. Okay, let's call this right here. We're moving to some finger pulls. So our hand just straight out in front and then pull those fingers back. Loosen up your grip and your forearms here. I always like doing this stretch here before a pull day routine here. You know, you don't want to, let's switch sides here. You don't want to come up short on a row or a curl because, you know, your forearms are tired or weak or something. Let's get all loosened up. Okay, last 20 seconds here. Do whatever you need to do here. That could be a forward fold. That could be just kind of shaking it out here. Do some arm pulls here. When this clock hits 0, we're going to start racking up the resistance here and getting in position to start this out. All right, let's get that volume up some more. There we go. All right, so again, I'm going to be starting out with a 40-pound plate hooked up on both sides with the arm in the number 8 position here. And we're going to be going into the seated row. So I said keep your bench at this angled position, kind of half lied. We're going to remove this, but leave the bench or the seat here right in the middle, just like that. And that's all we're going to have to do to get ready for this first lift. Now, the reason I like having this here is this is going to give me a nice spot where I can then put my feet up against this feet rest here. And then when I get into my rows, right, I'm going to be then putting my feet up against that, leaning back a little bit, and then pulling this weight back and holding it for a second in that retracted position. So we're going to be blasting off here in 15 seconds. Now, if that position isn't working out well for you, you can also put the leg press attachment up here and put your legs up against that. But 5 seconds ago, I want you in position here, ready to go. And we're going to pull this weight back towards our torso, hold it for a second, and slowly release. That's 1. 2. I want you controlling the weight through that whole range of motion. That's 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Okay. Nice. So from here, let's adjust that weight setting. I forgot to mention this earlier, but I like starting out about 10 or about 20% lower than where I want to end up for my very first set of any routine. So I'm going to go ahead and add 10 pounds of resistance on both sides. In that first set, I really like seeing that as kind of a continuation of the warm up. You know, you don't want to go into lifting weights cold, and that's what we're doing here, is kind of building up to the resistance we want to be at. Also, you keep writing down your resistance as you go. And we got 10 seconds and get ready to go here. So as you pull back, that's when I want you exhaling. Hold the breath at that full extension for a second. Here we go. Pull it back, hold, and slowly release. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Get that nice squeeze in your back. 6. 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. Now that felt like a good weight setting to me. I'm going to keep it right there for my next set here. And that's going to be our third set of seated row coming up. Now between sets, we got this full minute of rest. Write it down, adjust as needed, and then that extra time, that's for you. And you could be kind of, just swinging your arms, staying loose and, mentally dialed in and ready to go. Okay, 10 seconds. Here we go. And pull it back. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try to get those handles all the way to your torso. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yes. Okay. Dumbbell rows are coming up next here. I'm going to keep my weight setting the same where it's at right now. So I got 50 pounds racked on both sides. And I'm going to hook my bench back up here as I go into this. Okay, so for dumbbell row, we're gonna be taking it one side at a time here. And what I like doing is I like putting my outer leg kind of back on this leg extension attachment, but that might not work out so well for you if you're a little bit shorter. And so what I'm gonna do with my inner arm here, I'm gonna grab this handle, and then my outer arm, I'm just gonna press squarely in the middle of the bench here. And then I'm gonna just be pulling this weight back in towards my body and then slowly controlling it through that retraction. All right, so 10 seconds. Let's get ready to go. Count aloud with me here. Here we go, pull it back. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, nice job. Now we have a short rest interval here because we're just switching sides. So same thing here. I'm gonna put this outer leg on my leg extension. Knee is on the bench here. And my left arm is squarely in the middle of this bench here. And we're gonna pull back. Here we go, pull it back, hold it. And that's 1, 2, 3. Think about that weight setting. 4. Is this good? Can you do more? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we have a little bit longer rest interval here, so let's write those numbers down. We got one more row on both sides. I'm gonna keep the weight setting the same. I pretty much only got 9 in on that last one. I came up a little bit short And that final rep. Okay, one more on each side. Okay, outer leg is on the attachment. Grab that handle and let's row it back. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we're just switching sides here. Short rest interval again. Now pulling, normally with the dumbbell row, you're pulling straight up off the ground. Keep in mind with this machine, your resistance is kind of coming from a little bit off of the ground, kind of pulling back at an angle. And that's why we're in this position here. Okay, here we go. Final set of rows. Make this thing count. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Extended rest interval here. Oh man, I came up short on that one. Only got 8 in that last set there. All right, I'm taking this bench off. We're done with this here for now, or actually for the rest of this routine. And I'm gonna be hooking up my bar here. We're gonna be going into bicep curls up next. So we got 3 sets of these. I'm gonna be keeping 50 pounds of resistance on for this first set. Probably gonna bump up the weight after this first set. We're gonna be seeing how things are feeling. I normally do 60 pounds on each side, but I normally can't do a full 10 reps in. So we're gonna kind of feel it out. Now, we're all at our own levels as we're going through this. I know there's gonna be people watching this video that can do a whole lot more weight than me, and there's gonna be people that can't do as much weight as me. That is okay. Don't make this a competition. They say competition is the thief of joy. And we're working out, mostly by ourselves in the garage here. So, you're working against your old self here. So keep that in mind. Now, let's get ready for some curls here. Real simple motion. And we're just gonna be curling this weight up and slowly lowering the weight. Now, as you do this first set, if the arm position feels a little weird to you, this is 3. You can lower it down 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Full minute of rest here. Shake it out. Write it down. I'm going to bump it up to 55. We're going to see how this goes. Again, now if that pulley position felt a little weird, you can bring it in 1 as well. I think that's what I'm going to keep it at. And I have it at position number 9 in my notes here. It's kind of a toss-up if I like the 9 or the 10 here better. Now I went ahead and hooked up both at the 9 because that's what our shoulder shrugs will be at. Okay. All right, let's grab the bar, get ready to go. We got 3 seconds. Here we go, curl it up. That's 1. Slowly lower. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. My biceps are on fire, but I got all 10 in. I'm gonna keep that weight setting the same here as we go into one more set of that. Okay, so we got this set here, and then we're gonna switch. We're gonna put this handle back on kind of in the short position after the set while we get ready for some shoulder shrugs. Let's lock in. Let's get in 10 reps here. Come on. 3, 2, 1. Curl it up. That's 1. Slowly lower. Exhale on the way up. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Oh, I am cooked, y'all. I got 8 reps in. Hopefully you got in all 10. Shoulder shrugs up next. Now I'm gonna be up in my weight setting just a little. Well, no, I'm gonna go with 50 pounds on both sides here for my shoulder shrugs. We only got 2 sets of these. And that's partly because I don't necessarily love this lift on the machine. I think normally I kind of like shoulder shrugs as an exercise, but you know, if you have any tips in the comments on this one here, I'm all ears. This is, you know, kind of what I've learned from watching the Bowflex tutorial videos and also trying a number of different things myself. But, you know, hopefully we got a lot of people here that have some better ways of doing it. Actually, we're gonna be facing the machine here. I'm gonna lean back a little bit, and again, my arms are in the number 9 position. So from here, I'm gonna stand up, and I'll have a little bit of tension here, and then I'm gonna bring my shoulders up to my ears, and then release. That's 1, 2, 3. You should feel those shoulder blades moving up. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, let's write it down. And we're well over halfway done with this routine here. All right, you can adjust that weight setting as needed. I'm keeping mine locked in at 50. Now after this set, we're gonna have an extended break where we drop the resistance. You know, in the intro I talked about using that 40-pound plate as my baseline resistance. I'm gonna be dropping it down to just a 10-pound plate. And then of course the machine kind of has like 5 already hooked up. when we go into those cable lateral raises. So, all right, one more set of this shoulder shrug. And then we'll go into my favorite shoulder exercise. So let's grab those handles, start facing the machine. You got less than 5 seconds. All right, get that tension and then bring up those shoulders and drop them. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on, hold that shrug. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, nicely done. Let's write it down. We got that minute 30 of rest here. Okay, so let's go dropping that weight. Again, so I'm dropping my 40 and I've just got the 10 that I'm adding. And then there's that 5 baseline. I'm also going to be moving the arms to the number 8 position here. And we're doing that on both sides. Okay, we got 45 seconds here. Oh, I am needing that downtime. Now I try to, limit our downtime to about a minute between every exercise just to, keep things moving and make the most of our time, keep these routines pretty compact. Sometimes I worry that I'm going a little too fast, but I don't know. I kind of like making these routines that are just over half an hour long, so they're really approachable. Now, a couple ways you can do this lift here. So I'm going to have one arm on the arm of the machine, and I'm going to be raising this up. Alternatively, you can have the handle behind your back, and that's kind of what I prefer doing here. So I got the handle behind my back, and I'm going to raise it up to shoulder height, and then slowly lower. Get a nice stretch too when you lower it down. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. And this lift is so good because you get that nice smooth resistance all the way through the range of motion. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, short rest interval here as we just switch sides. Okay, let's get this set in. We're gonna have then about a minute after this one where you can dial in that weight if you need to change it. Here we go, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's go. 8, 9, and 10. All right. Let's write those numbers down. I'm going to try bumping my resistance up by 5 pounds. And, as you do this, really don't let your form, go to hell if you're just, adding too much weight here. I'm really going to try to keep that technique nice and smooth. And you don't want to be, swaying your hips in this stuff. So make sure you can get up to 10 or even 12 before bumping up the resistance here. And let's raise this thing up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, I only got 7 in on that side. I'm gonna try to get 8 in on this side, y'all. Home stretch here. One more of these and then we got 2 sets of curls and we can call it a day. All right, arms up. And let's extend. There we go. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. This exercise is great for building up the roundness of your shoulders. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. I got stuck on 7 again here. And we're gonna be racking up a little bit more weight while we go into that dual bicep curl. So I've got 15 racked up on both sides. I'm gonna go up to 25 on each side. And we're keeping the pulleys, or the arms in the number 8 position here. So let's just add a bit more weight. We got 2 sets of curls and then we can call this thing. Okay, so for our curls, I'm gonna be facing the machine. You can also, you know what, change of plans. I like this curl here. I'm gonna be facing away from the machine. And I'm gonna try to get a little bit of a lean here, get a nice stretch going. And then I'm gonna be doing a nice curl like this. Now if that, you know, I found some people maybe have a little bit of tightness or pain in their elbow from different curls. You can also face the machine and try curling like that. You know, kind of adjust it to what you want to do here today. Okay, in position. Again, I'm leaning forward. Gonna start out with a little bit of tension, and then we're curling up. Hold it and release. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice smooth reps. 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. 1 more set to go. And think about that weight setting. If you can bump it up for this last set, go for it. You know, I've mentioned the weight setting a couple times, you know, and that we're all at our own levels. Now, my whole point of this channel is just to make it as simple as possible for people, you know, that own these Bowflex home gyms to get out and work out on their machine. Because I know for me, it takes a lot of like planning and trying to, you know, figure out the lifts as I go. And when I have a routine to follow, that is, those are generally the best workouts for me. So the whole goal of this channel is to, you know, make these things really easy to follow along with. So, you know, if you want to support the channel, I have a Patreon, and that would be the best place to do it. If you do join, let me know if you have a revolution and you want to see more routines like this. Okay, final set here. Let's curl it up and slowly lower. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, awesome job on finishing this routine out. If you want to, you can always remove these weights. With normal Bowflexes, I always say remove those power rods from tension. I don't think you have to do it with the Revolution. Also, if you know if that's one of the things you're supposed to do, let me know in the comments. And let me know in the comments what you thought of this routine. If this video gets 100 likes, I will continue putting out more videos on this machine. I just don't know how big of an audience there is for this. So let me know. And as always, I want you to be good to yourself, be good to others, and thank you for watching.